We're living in a fairy tale, in the middle of the sea. I'm so for real, sipping my ginger ale, and I'm on a cloud, and I am not coming down. I am not coming down, as long as you around. On a cloud.
Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel. I am Talia Tees, and welcome to the table. So today we're gonna get into a new show. So this is a brand new series. It just premiered last night. It's titled Our Kind of People. I understand that it's based off of a book. So I might have to check the book out because I always like to read the books first if it's, anything founded there. But I also noticed that Lee Daniels has a writing credit or producer's credit on this show as well. And if you know Lee Daniels, he's gonna definitely take us on some wild rides. I used to be a really big fan of Empire. The very first season I thought was just amazing. But then he kind of lost me after that. So hopefully, he kind of tapped back in to, where he was in that space. And we're going to get some good content out of him. So this particular episode is titled Reparations. So it's just kind of letting us know somebody's coming back for something they feel is rightfully theirs. All right. So I'm, ready to see what kind of wild ride he's going to take us on with this plot. So let's go ahead and buckle up and get talkative. So we open up with our main character, Angela. Now, she's played by Yaya DaCosta. You might remember her from America's Next Top Model. She was on there the same year that Eva won. But she's accompanied by her daughter, Nikki, and her aunt, Patricia. So they're riding down the highway, hair blowing in the wind, and we see that they're driving into the town of Oak Bluffs. So we get a shot of what Oak Bluffs looks like, and we get this beautiful plantation-style mansion. It has a driveway that literally looks like a Benz lot. There's groundsmen. It's just literally reeking of wealth. But one thing that is very noticeable and stands out is that, every person is black. So I guess they are trying to set the stage that this Oak Bluffs place is pretty much a black area. So then we go back to the car ride, and Nikki, she's just geeked. She's giddy that they're going to this new city, this new place. And she lets them know that, a lot of black elite has been coming to this place since the late 1800s. And also, they have to go to Nancy's, and I guess that's like some type of a restaurant, because Sasha Obama works there. So, Angela is kind of shocked because she's like, what? You want to actually work? So again, they are all just really happy because you can just tell, they're about to just embark on a brand new journey. So the aunt, Patricia, she says, why you got us riding around with our hair blowing like white women? So I said, okay, so they gotta, ratchet it up a little bit. So I guess she's gonna be, giving us that comedic relief throughout this. So then, Angela kind of changes the course, and she kind of talks about this hair care business that they have, and how, they are going to be selling identity and freedom. And they all kind of, just cheer together. But then Patricia comes through and says, but this wig gonna fall off. So her little bad wig that's sitting on top of her head that's blowing in the wind as they ride down the highway is struggling to stay on. So it's really cute. And they end up pulling over and stopping by the beach. Now, Angie and Nikki, they get in the water and they find that it's really cold. And Angie, she kind of starts to break down because all of it starts to kind of remind her of her mother. And she begins to even cry. So she emerges from the water and she kind of goes to her TT pad, and she just kind of consoles her and lets her know that, I get that this hurts, but this is why we are here. We're here to finish what she started, pay homage. And, she left this shop, and, she was she was, basically a maid. And in this very shop, she ended up making it hers ultimately in life. So, it's really cool to kind of see that, whomever this woman is that we're learning about, she must have done something great because she ended up owning the building that she once served in. So I thought that was kind of dope. Now Nikki, she comes out the water, and they share a joke about how the mom, she used to always be complaining about who took her conditioner and shea buttered on grown trees. So they really let us know that this woman must have been really, really sassy, whomever she was. Now, over on the tarmac, we see a private jet landing, and a beautiful family emerges from this private jet. So we have a daughter that's coming down. She looks like she could be their daughter, but she's coming down the stairs and she's all into her phone and doing the social media thing and trying to, hit the pose and frame like Fabo. But her mom's like, hey, Lauren, we don't flaunt our bodies. You are DuPonts and Franklins, and never forget that. So I guess they're letting us know that these are some really bougie people. So as she's basically shutting down whatever kind of photo shoot her daughter was trying to have, Mama Liv, who is the gentleman that emerged from the PJ, who is being played by Morris Chestnut, by the way. This is his mother, and they refer to her as Mama Liv. So the maid greets the wife, and the mama greets the son, which is, again, is Morris Chestnut. But we can see already that there's a little bit of contention between mom and daughter-in-law. She seems to really not care for her and begins to scold her, about the fact that she's late and they're having this gala tonight and you have all these things to get set up. Things have not been done. You're going to basically mess this up. So Raymond, we find out that's his name, Morris Chestnut. So Raymond steps in and he kind of cuts, his mom off and just kind of tells her, she's got it. Don't worry about it. And they kind of, run off. So Leah, Morris Chestnut or Raymond's wife, she mentions that, after she's had 2 grandbabies for this woman, she just doesn't understand why she still be coming for her. So, Raymond just reassures her and just says, that's just how mama is. And we wouldn't love her if she was any other way. But let's be real. I'm personally not married, but I don't know how I can handle being married to somebody whose mama treats me like that every time. Like that would be something that would be a hard pill for me to swallow. But anywho, he lets her know, Raymond, that in addition to, her being great, he's excited about this summer because they are going to get their marriage back on track. So that lets us know that there might have been some issues going on between the two, because the only reason you would need to get on track is if you got off track. So I'm looking forward to finding out what that means. So he says, not only that, they just want to rekindle some things, for this summer at the vineyard. So, child, I can't wait to see what they going to get into with this one. So we now see Angela, Nikki, and Pat. They arrive at the home that her mother basically would do hair out of. And, she had her girls' just hair was just fried, dyed, and blow dried and laid to the side. So apparently mama had the girls' hair laid. So Patricia, she then goes on to say, after what happened with Angela's dad, she went here to do hair. So Angela says, and she never said his name? Pat goes, she took that to her grave. She died with that secret too. So now we're kind of, again, getting a little bit more info that, basically she don't know who her daddy is. And the mama, whatever went on between them two, she ran on off to this little place to do hair when that all happened. So they enter into this flashback with Angela. She's a little girl and she's sitting on the ground, old school style, while her mama braiding her hair up and getting her done. And she's got a cute little dress on. So her mama tell her that her daddy coming over to see her and that, she might be excited, but you need to be still while I'm getting your hair right. So little Angela, she says, why I ain't never met my daddy? So Mama Eve tells her, well, he was just getting ready for us. And, now he's coming back. We're going to go live in a castle and be a real family on the water. And so Angela really got turned up and she was like, well, I want to look real pretty. So her dad shows up and basically he was just coming there to pay her mother off, to essentially just get out of his life. And unfortunately, little Angela hears all of this. So the mom, she just goes ballistic and she's like, you know what? She should have, told him this before, she came over here, and she'd beat the black out of him if you don't get out of there. And, little Angela, she runs after him and, kind of watches him and calling daddy, daddy, as he's leaving out, and it's the rain going, and it is super duper dramatic and sad, Lee Daniels style. So we move back into present day and we see that Angela and Nikki are now in one of the bedrooms, kind of getting things settled. And, they talk about how they need to spread, the grandmother's ashes. And then Nikki, she stated, that she had been expelled from school for fighting. And that, it's okay for Angela to talk about it. She doesn't have to act like that didn't happen. So Angela just totally ignores her, starts doing this crazy dance and jumps on the bed. She pulls her up there and they both start jumping. And Angela just tells her, look, I just want a fresh start for both you and I. I want to create generational wealth. And I want to just leave all the BS and the trauma back in Boston. So, Nikki kind of tells her, I just feel like folks won't like me, and who's going to want to get to know me. And, it's just so sad because with kids, it is so hard, when you have to move. And I believe this character is 17 years old. So, at that point, it's a really awkward point in life. And a lot of friendships are established at that point. So, it just kind of made me feel sad for her. But her mother, she definitely disputed that and was like, many people would love to know you. You're an amazing person. And she also lets her know that she herself had just got invited to a party. So Angela had been invited to basically this gala that Leah and Raymond are talking about. So we're finally gonna get to see them meet. So we get to the gala, and we see Ray and Leah. They're, at the party, and Leah, says that his mom was right. All eyes are on her, and it is a lot of pressure. And she starts to kind of doubt herself because she knows that there's a lot riding on her, being successful at these events. So, Raymond again, he just reassures her, lets her know that she is the baddest woman up in there. She ain't never dropped the ball in life. And now that they are stronger than ever, they're stronger because they are together. He just really lays it on thick. So then they cut over to Angela, Nikki, and Pat. They're sitting around, they looking like fish out of water because they like, we sure ain't in Boston no more. So at this point, we see Angela make eye candy with a character named Tyreek. He's actually being played by Lance Gross. So very, very, very good looking cast. So Angela says, my dad could be here and I wouldn't even know it. So her daughter, Nikki, she's like, I can't even believe that, grandma used to work at this party because it's just so posh and upscale. So, Aunt Patricia, she just basically says, well, it's his loss and it always has been. So then enters Riley Knox. She's playing Josephine. She's a friend of Angela's. So she greets her and, she speaks to the ladies, Nikki and Patricia, and they walk off a little bit. And Angela reveals to her that she wants to actually speak to the host. So that's to Josephine's surprise. And she basically just tell her, you want to wade into the deep waters that quick. So, you can just tell that she's a little less than thrilled about her friend wanting to deal with her. So then we see Nikki going to the bar. We cut to a new scene. Now, while she's at the bar, we see Raymond's son, Quincy. So they have two kids. They have the daughter that was all on social media as they were getting off the private jet. And then they have another teen son, and his name is Quincy. So Nikki basically sees him, and he's kind of looking at her. And Quincy goes on to say, parties are born without being lit, and orders of vodka for her. So Nikki said, is this your party? And Quincy said, my parties are better. So as they're, kind of chatting, two females walk up. Now, one of the females is his sister, Lauren, who it sounds like they call her Lo. And the other one is her friend, Taylor. So Taylor introduces herself to Nikki. And, Nikki just kind of, lets her know that she's new. Her mom's opening a pop-up shop, in town. And Lo just cuts her off and is like, hey, let's go take that picture. So Nikki tells her, well, wow, I guess they don't teach manners in the sunken place. Checked her. So Quincy and Taylor, they kind of chuckle at it. And Taylor's like, we need some new blood around here anyway, so why don't you come to our party or whatever. So Nikki gets a little invite to her first little party, and all seems to be well. So Angela manages to some way wiggle her little butt up under that tent, and she made it to Leah and Raymond. So she lets them know that, she just has to meet them, and she's just completely fangirling over them. So Leah asks her, where is her husband? Just real rude, like. But, Angela, she rolls with it. She said, oh, well, I don't have a husband, but I do have a 17-year-old that's going on 30. So Leah goes and says, me too. She's very opinionated, and, they just grow so fast. So Angela concurs and says, yes, too fast. But then Leah just kind of gives her this little look. And I'm like, well, what did she say that was wrong? It was exactly what you were saying. But clearly this woman is just not feeling her. So then Angela, she goes on to talk about how she has this pop-up shop downtown, and she introduces the name Eve's Crown. So apparently that's the name of the business her mother was either starting or attempting to establish, but it is a natural hair care product, or product line rather. So Raymond, he actually recognized that name. And, Angela just explained the reason why is because she applied for the small business incubator program at Franklin. So Raymond, he goes on to say, oh, okay, yeah, I remember that. And yes, black hair care. That's hot right now. So Angela, she kind of looks like right now. She goes on to say, a black woman's hair and her relationship with it is something that is forever and everlasting. It starts before they even begin to walk, and goes beyond the years of your mother doing your hair for you. It is generational. It is evolutional. It is personal. And it is more than just hot right now. It would be amazing for your program. Well, you better sell that, Angela. You better know your product and its what do they call it, mission statement. You better do it. So Raymond, he actually liked it. He was like, keep that up, keep the energy, and you might just make the cut. And Leah just looks like she wants to throw up. So, Angela, she's like, I also understand that tonight we're raising money for the single mother outreach to tonight, and I would like to extend a donation on behalf of Eve's Crown. So she gives them this check, And Leah literally just looks at it like it stinks and says, the donation box is at the entrance. Awkward. Like, Leah, oh my God, you are such a B word. She is so mean. So I can't wait to see, where this is going to go, because Angela seems pretty persistent and she wants to really get up in whatever they got going on. So I can't wait to see how this plays out. So after that relatively embarrassing a moment, Angela, she goes and she kind of talks to her aunt Patricia about it. And Patricia just says, well, is the money good? So not you worried about her check bouncing. Oh my gosh. So just then, as she says that, she starts to kind of trip over her shoe. And here we have Tyreek, which again is played by Lance Gross. And he's finally made his way across the room. And he lets her know that, he was hoping that he was going to be able to meet her tonight. Okay, he's been watching you. So he goes on to actually help her with her shoe like a gentleman. And they exchange names and introduce themselves. And clearly we have a love connection. Go ahead, Ange. So now it's morning time and we see Angela up and she's live streaming while she's washing and shampooing and conditioning her hair while pushing the product Eve's Crown. So as she's doing that, she puts her phone down and she goes into another flashback. So in this flashback, her mother, Eve, is telling her that, she's basically done with all this crying. So I assume this is after the whole daddy incident. But she said she's done with all the crying. And, Angie, you will be a queen, whether you like it or not, baby. So she goes on to show her the recipe and how she made this homemade conditioner that I guess eventually, made her either wealthy or gave her some type of notoriety. So then we move on to a scene in a boardroom, and we see a gentleman by the name of Teddy Franklin who's presenting. Now, we find out a little later that this is Leah's dad, but he lets the folks in the boardroom know that he is basically going to buy the athletic team Boston Tide and move them into the new Franklin Stadium. Now, this is apparently going to revive or revitalize a oppressed or depressed community. And honestly, it just smells like gentrification. It sounds like he's about to go into some lower income or impoverished neighborhood and put his little stadium on top and disperse and have all these people out here with nowhere to, live. So then Leah comes in. And she comes and she stands by him as he's presenting this and finalizing the pitch. And, once he kind of comes to a close, Leah tells him, you better take your damn hands off of me. So right off the bat, we see that there is a lot of toxicity between Leah and her daddy. So Raymond, he's like, okay, it's time to take a break. Let's go ahead and, clear this thing out. So everybody leaves the room. And Leah and Teddy basically get into it as they get into it. Leah, she let him know that she spent all night working on that stadium proposal that he just finished, only for him, her daddy, to be going behind her back and, paying off zoning people and, getting all these other people on board so that he could come and basically steal her thunder. She feels that he is ruining the family's name and legacy. So Teddy goes on to say, have you not learned anything being at my right hand? Our family was one of the first to come up north and make it. We came to Boston and we never will have to pick cotton. Franklins give hope to the community. So, he goes on and he proceeds to let us know that he bought this big table that's in the room because it was the biggest one. And I made sure that I put an incline on it so that everybody has to look up to me, a black man. So you remember, little girl, it is I who sits at the head of this table and sits back and sips his drink. Well, Lord have mercy. This is a toxic relationship. Man, this mommy daughter or daddy daughter dynamic is definitely going to be one to watch, because he definitely put her in her place, and that was the end of that scene. So we head on over to the basketball court, and we see Quincy out there shooting hoops with the homie, and Raymond walks up. So he basically lets him know that he wants to spend more time with him this summer, and also wants him to start coming to the kingship. The inductee ceremony is going to be taking place this weekend, and he really kind of wants him there. So Quincy honestly seems disinterested. I think he just want to keep getting lit like he told Nikki, because he be doing underage drinking and whatnot. And, you know, Ray just keeps going on and on. So Ray kind of has this godlike complex to me. Like, I think sometimes he don't even like realize that nobody is as enamored by your glow, you know, as you think they are, because he just kind of his character just goes off into these like what feels like monologues. But anywho, he tells Quincy that, you know, as I want you to be there because I want you to observe, I want you to learn, I want you to absorb the power. Boy, what? So then he goes on to continue and say that the rest of the world had to wait for Obama. But I've been surrounded by kings my whole life. You're a king. Everyone in my family became kings. And that is what I want for you. That is what I want for you, my son. Okay, Mufasa. It sounds like we down to the Lion King up at the Circle of Life, and he didn't just got born and Rafiki put the stuff on his head. I mean, geez, y'all at the basketball court. Whew. I don't know about this Raymond character and this acting. All right, so Angela and Josephine, they back at home, you know, and they're talking about how, you know, she can get close to the Franklins because Angela is pretty much kind of bordering on the brink of obsession in terms of trying to get in where she can fit in. So she basically says to Josephine that she really needs her to help her kind of push this so that she can get in and ultimately help Eve's crown. Josephine kind of almost starts like trying to discourage her. And she basically flat out told her, Leah, you know, she has a lot to prove with what she has going on with these women. And they are activists in white gloves. So I just don't know that you really fit this, you know, cookie cutter image. And so Angela was like, well, you know, I am too. She disagrees. She feels like she is one and the same. So then in the middle of them talking, Angela gets a package, and come to find out it's from Tyreek. So it's an invite to a party that he's having, I guess at his home. And it came with a cute pair of shoes too, some designer shoes. All right. So Patricia, she was like, well, go ahead, girl. It's a good idea for you to have a little friend with benefits. Then Josephine gonna say, yeah, because you need to get them cobwebs knocked off. It's been 17 years. So I guess they trying to imply that Angela ain't had none since she had her daughter, because she's 17 too. So I guess it's more to come on that. But okay. All right. So then we get to the next scene. We see Nikki arriving at the yacht party. Hey, and it looked pretty lit too. But again, these kids. So why is it this lit? But anyway, she's greeted by Taylor, who they hug, and we see Taylor slipping something in her purse. It looked like a phone to me. So I'm like, oh no, that can't be good. And Nikki doesn't notice this either. So Quincy joins them, and, you know, Nikki and Quincy, they greet each other as well. And then they kind of go off and start dancing. So meanwhile, across town, we see Angela arriving at Tyreek's party and looking amazing. Now, this little body here wasn't on top model. So go ahead, girl. I think she got a little baby now, and that baby gave her a little body, and it looks amazing. So Tyreek notices that she wore some different shoes, and Angela says to him, I can buy my own shoes. So Tyreek then says, well, can I at least get you a drink? So, okay, independent woman. So then we flash back to, well, not flashback, but we switch back over to the yacht party. And we see Nikki, she's going to what looks like a bathroom. And suddenly we hear Lauren screaming, Taylor, Taylor, Taylor. So then Nikki goes and she runs up to the upper deck. Like, Nikki, no, run out. Don't go up. Don't go towards where they yelling and fussing. So Nikki does it anyway. And she goes to that upper deck where Lauren is looking over as if Taylor has like gone overboard. So Nikki says, what happened? And Lauren says, we were arguing and she just fell. And so after that, she just runs off and just leaves Nikki standing there. So I don't know about y'all, but this really seems like she's about to get set up between the phone getting dropped and then her just running off like that. Yeah, look like they trying to pull something slick. So back over at Tyreek's, we see Angela and Tyreek talking to each other. And, you know, he said that he sent her the shoes for a better intro and to help her get into with the Gracities. So the Gracities is basically the group of women that Leah manages. And she is trying to essentially get into this group. So he felt getting her a new pair of shoes would help. I don't understand the correlation, but okay. But Tyreek basically goes on to tell her that, you know, you don't want to poke the bear because Leah can be really tough. And Angela lets him know, well, I can handle them. And he says, oh, I know you can. But then he gives her a little bit of a background of himself and lets her know that, you know, I don't just summer at the Bluffs. I actually grew up 2 houses down. And the man that, you know, paid for his boarding school, I guess his father worked for this man and he paid for his school. It ultimately led to him going to Ivy League college or university. And he owns his own construction company. So he literally got it out the mud and he's on. So Angela says, so what you think? You trying to be my fairy godmother or something? So he says, well, someone's got to get you together for the ball. And then they kiss. Okay, yes, girl. That was just cute. But dang, y'all just met and you already kissing him in the mouth? Ugh. So they get an interruption. And it's Nikki calling her mom because it done went down at the boat party, the little yacht party. So back at the yacht party, the cops are explaining to Raymond that basically the victim is fine. But at this point, they're trying to figure out, you know, what really led up or caused this to happen. But Nikki Vaughn told us that Lauren DuPont was last with her. So as soon as the cop said that, Lauren jumps up and she was like, I was nowhere near her. And that girl, Nikki, is drunk as hell. So Angela, she's like, my daughter don't drink. Lauren says, smell her breath. So she turns and everybody basically looks at Nikki now. And Nikki looked like, damn, I'm busted. I'm like, damn, you couldn't do nothing better than that. So at that point, Leah emerges and she says, I'm Leah Franklin DuPont and my daughter is not going anywhere. So Angela said, and neither is mine. So basically they were all saved by Leah Franklin DuPont. So Angela and Nikki get back home and they actually end up waking up Pat because they so loud. So Angela, she basically was just telling Pat like she's lit. She almost got arrested for underage drinking and she's lucky that the girl's not dead. So what you doing? You smoking weed again too? So Nikki was like, what? No. So Angela keeps going hard in the paint and she says, I had to beg and pray to get you into a diversion program to avoid jail time. One whiff of this and the judge will put you behind bars. I don't have the skin color or bank account to get you out. You're grounded. So Nikki said, oh, okay. So you trying to act like a mom now? You've always been thirsty. So Miss, TT Pat, she like, okay, you need to slow your roll, baby girl, because, you getting a little disrespectful. But Nikki decides to press on. And she continues with, you've been obsessed with getting in with these people like you were obsessed with putting me in that private school that no one looked like me at. Maybe it's on you while I was drinking and smoking. And storms off. Whew. So don't tell me we got a little bit of neglect going on. So you've been going so hard that you've been neglecting this baby and got her out here drinking and smoking. Whew. Okay. The next day at the Grey City's ceremony, we see Josephine, Angela, and Nikki sitting at the table as Leah is presented as the new chapter president by Raymond's mom. So Leah gives a moment of silence to Taylor's family and basically goes into this big spiel about how, her mother is a part of the sisterhood and, we're going to always help when we're down. But she's standing up there while I bet her daughter is the reason why she was down there swimming and rolling on the river. But anyway, they kind of flash over to the Kingsman ceremony with Raymond. And this is what he wanted his son to come to so that he could absorb the power. So if I'm going to be honest, it looked like we are caught up in some type of Illuminati foolishness. They in here chanting and bowing and crowning. These boys is in the satanic throes of some mess, y'all. And I don't know. Then Teddy, he looking at Ray and, it just, I don't know what we looking at here. But anywho, back down to the classy base luncheon, Josephine stands up and she nominates Angela and Angela stands. So Ray's mom, she says, I'm a little bit surprised. When I saw your application, I didn't know who you are or, had no idea, what you even do. So Angela let her know that she's from Boston and her mom was Evelyn Vaughn. So Miss Liv, Raymond's mom, she says, oh, okay, well, what did your mother do? So Angela said she was a businesswoman and the membership that you all have would help me to continue to follow her dream, which is what, basically she would have wanted to do with Eve's crown. So then Raymond's Mama Liv, she came back again and she just said, okay, well, all of those that were interviewed will be under consideration. And then Leah jumps up and she says, and you also need 2/3 of the membership's vote, which will be announced at the Grand Illumination Ball. You'll have opportunities to show us what you got and get involved and basically get that vote. Now, our first event is going to be the annual mommy-daughter fashion show. And who can I get to help with glam? So Angela, she shoots up out her seat. Me, I can help. That's my lane. So Leah just basically ignored her and was like, okay, Tracy, you'll go ahead and take care of that. And Miss Vaughn, you can help with food and beverage. So she made her the lunch lady. So Angela said, you want me to help with snacks? So Leah goes, well, no task is too small for the sisterhood, right? I really don't like Leah. She is getting on my nerves. So we head over back to the crib and we see Angela and Aunt Pat. They dancing around in the kitchen and Pat then took off her wig. Oh my God. So again, I guess this is our ratchet comedic break in TT Pat, because hell no. So as they dancing around and they doing their thing, we see that Angela is making her mom's conditioner. So Pat says, Nikki told me that when you were down at the little, classy based luncheon, you had told the girls that your mama was a businesswoman when damn well she was a maid. And she just was like, damn, why you couldn't keep it real? And, Angela tried to clean it up and just says, she lied about it because she just wants them to see what Eve's crown could be. And I guess she thought if she kept it real about what her mama did, then they wouldn't even, give her a chance. So she actually tries to ask Nikki if she would go to the mommy daughter, ball thing with her, just so she can kind of get in there, still get her, experience on and network. And basically, Nikki is still in her feelings because she said, well, I'm grounded anyway, so I can't go. And storms off. So up in Nikki's room, we see her accidentally hit her purse and she knocks that phone that Taylor secretly put in her bag onto the floor. So she opens it up and it's literally a video of Taylor and Lauren all cuddled up, and it looks like they're sitting on a floor or a couch or something. So Taylor says on there, "Your mom thinks that I'm the bad influence." Lauren replies to her, "I promise I will tell everybody." So Taylor says, "All right." And then they start kissing on each other. Wow. So it sounds like Lauren is wrapped up in some sort of an undercover teenage lesbian love affair. Wow. So back over at the event, we see Mama Liz scrutinizing Leah for being late to her very first event as the president. So Leah asks her, are you going to criticize me the entire time, while I'm, on tenure? So Mama Liv says, well, if you lead like this, yeah, I will. So she goes on to let her know, like, Leah's mom used to be, one of the presidents in years past, and she was held in an extremely high regard with the Graceties. But, she's just afraid that the things that this organization has worked for and have tried to obtain, and she said we were supposed to get our 40 acres and a mule and still didn't. So at this point, we can't have anybody that's going to undermine what we have tried to build. We can't have anybody threatening the integrity of the Graceties. So then she then goes on to say, that Angela Vaughn woman is a disruptor. Her family has a long, dark history on this island. Can you handle it? Or do I have to go get your father? Damn. So they already plotting against Angela. Wow. I can't wait to see what they got on her. So now we're at the fashion show. The stylist or whoever was supposed to be doing their hair, the beautician, she didn't show up. So Angela stepped in and was like, okay, well, let me go ahead and do what I was supposed to do from the beginning. And she hooks everybody hair up. I mean, she had the girls looking so good. Even TT Pat was like, you got it looking like Wakanda, then came to Boston, because it was natural ethnic inspired hair realness. I'm talking about big braids. We got afro puffs. We got the beautiful shells, and it was just gorgeous. I loved it. Now, Leah, on the other hand, was not impressed, and she was in fact pissed. So since this was a mommy-daughter thing, remember, Lauren is Leah's daughter. So they walked in it together. But after, she got off stage and got done, Lauren was kind of like wandering around like she was just distraught. Like, again, the acting on here is very questionable. But, yeah, she was trying to convey that she was distraught, I believe. And so, she started having flashbacks of the night at that yacht party. And, she started seeing, herself standing on that upper deck. So Nikki saw her kind of wandering around doing this little weird dance. And she asked her if she was okay. She really wasn't open to it. So I don't know why Nikki did this. But she went on to tell her that she had a phone that showed her, video footage of what was going on between her and Taylor. And she basically tried to continue on to let her know that, I think Taylor wanted somebody to know the truth. And, it's okay. So Lauren freaks out and goes, well, what am I supposed to do? Slap a pronoun on my chest? We can't do that here. So she feels that because, she's in this upper echelon of society, they're not really going to be accepting of her, I guess, if she come out the closet. So Nikki tries to tell her, well, my grandma, she was the only one who was really, there for me. And she only knew, I feel like she was the only one who knew the real me. And it's okay. So Lauren continues to lash out and, tells her that, you better not say any fucking thing. So as they're, in the middle of this, Leah, Lauren's mom, walks up and she's like, what's going on? So Lauren goes into Karen mode and says, well, Nikki keeps bothering me. So Leah then actually jumps in and says, well, what is it with you and your family? It's like, no, Leah, go get her mother. You can't be talking to people's kids like that now. I don't care if your baby saying that she's harassing her. You go get you go get Nikki mama and you talk to Angela. So Angela, not far, walks up and basically tells her that, she saved her tonight. And you ain't even thanked me. So what's up? And you need to act like you were raised right. So Leah said, really? Well, let's turn the mirror on you, and gets real dramatic. So Angela's just like, well, what's up? Ever since I've been here, you have been judging me. You've been just really on my case. And so Leah said, because you're a lie. Your mother never summered here. She was a maid. So Angie's like, wow, so you just really trying to tear me down? I know who I am. So Leah goes on and continues. You're hiding the truth about your mother, Evelyn Vaughn. She was arrested for intent to distribute over in Egerton. And she done passed this girl a mug shot of her mama. Lord have mercy. How would you feel if you thought your mom was just this upstanding citizen? And then somebody down to the damn runway, the project runway for the mama and daughters, they didn't just reveal that your mama was the pusher man. No way. Wow. So then Leah, after feeling so big about herself, after, completely destroying Miss Angela, she goes over back to her daddy's office, and she's got her legs propped up on her daddy's big old table that he had bought. And she basically told him to come on down because she had some stuff that she needed to discuss with him. So when he got there, he was like, I guess your tantrum isn't over. And she was like, well, you know what? I tore someone down today. And it just didn't feel like the ends justified the means. And I thought about you. So she goes on to say, you may be the patriarch, but I am the heir. I will be taking over this business. So Teddy started busting out laughing like, you crazy as hell. But Leah, she started kind of laughing with him like, and get this, you're going to really like this. You're going to retire today. So they laugh some more, right? So Teddy's like, and why would I do this? And Leah's like, because I have all of your dirt and the feds would love to hear from me. So I cut the legs off your precious little table and fixed the incline. Damn. So she continues on and says, my whole life, I've tried to earn your respect. And he says, well, you have my love, but respect is earned. So baby girl, you must not have put in that work. So Leah said, well, you asked me to find a seat at your table and I found one. Yours. So she's just really like, really taunting him at this point. So she continues on and says, I'm going to move on to being named the head chairman of the company. And this is not even about money for me. This is about building black folks. So Teddy just looks at her and he's like, you think you different. You really think you are different, but you are just as addicted to money and power as me. My blood runs through your veins. But you win tonight. You got your little win tonight. But I'm just much better than you are. So I feel like that's a warning. I feel like Daddy Teddy is letting her know, like, you might have got this one off. But yeah. So Leah, she says to him, enjoy your summer. It just won't be here. And so she's still gloating because she feel like she really, really won. Wow. So back over at Angela's house, Josephine comes over and she brings these files and lets us know that that's the perks of being a DA. Well, Josephine, goddamn it, how many jobs do you have? You got her into the gala, you got her nominated at the damn lunch, and now you up there stealing files at the police department. What the hell's going on? So anyway, Aunt Patricia is completely taken back that her little sister Eve would have been involved in drugs, because she recalled how when she got back with the dope man in 1980s, she damn near disowned her. So to think that she was actually moving dope herself is just completely unfathomable. So in the midst of that, Angela gasps as she finds a VHS tape. Oddly enough, in 2021, they have a VCR just so happened to be hanging around. They pop it in and boom, Eve is in what looks like a police interview room. We hear her say, "Teddy, tell them I didn't sell no drugs in this shop." Teddy, although we can't see his face, we hear him say, "It's gonna be okay." And then his hand reaches up to the camera to turn it off. Wow. So again, we can't see his face, but she called him Teddy. So then Angela flashes back again to that night when her dad left. At this point, little Angie has now gone outside. She's no longer standing at that window watching her dad in the rain. And she actually picks up a little watch and she's staring at the silhouette of the man that's supposed to be her father. And I'm going to keep it real with y'all. It looked like Teddy damn Franklin. So Angela snaps out of it. She comes back to and she says out loud, "Teddy Franklin is my father." So her auntie was like, "Well, she ain't ever told me that." Angela was like, "Well, you two were like close as white on rice, so we got to figure out why she never said anything. She hid this building from me until the day she died because she wanted me to find out what he did to her. And that's exactly what I'm going to do." Wow. So Teddy Franklin, which is Leah's daddy, is also Angela's daddy. Lord have mercy. So over at Raymond and Leah's house, which is beautiful, by the way, they're outside on the back porch just chilling. And Leah tells Ray that her dad decided to retire early and she will now be the chairwoman of Franklin Holdings. Even Ray is just sitting here looking like, really? Did he really do that? So while they're talking, the maid comes out and lets her know, Leah, that Angela has showed up to retrieve her wigs. Because remember, down to the fashion show when she saved the day and had everybody looking like Wakanda Forever, she came back to get her wig. So they go into the living room and Leah basically says to her that she didn't really want to tear her down and that her real and true intention is to honestly help her. But Angela rejects that and she starts to tear her down a little bit and lets her know that she's just a slave to this lifestyle, to this prestige, to the feeling of being better than someone. Angela then lets it be known that her mother gave her that boarding home. And if she knows where it is, that she can come on around and see about her because Eve's crown can hook up them dry ass ends. Oh, no, she didn't. She didn't attack that woman's crown. So then after that encounter, she flashes back to little Angie again. So little Angie is still out in the rain and she's watching her father get into the car. As he gets into the car, we see a little girl in the back seat asking, "Who is that?" Teddy then tells her not to worry about her and calls her Leah. So we now see that Teddy not only is a deadbeat dad, but he brought his other daughter over to the baby mama house to pay her off and had her in the back seat watching this whole scene go down, and she done seen Angela. Wow. So the final scene ends with Angela sitting in her room at her vanity, and she's actually looking at the wig that she just got from Leah. We see her pull some hair that belongs to Leah out and drops it into a sandwich bag. She looks into the mirror and she says, "Gotta secure the crown. Right, mama?" Wow. Man, so this definitely was as all over the place as I expected it to be. And honestly, I actually like it. I am very curious to see where this is going to go. These people clearly don't want her around. And obviously her mother has a secret past that's going to make it very hard for her to get what she wants. So drop down in the comments. Let me know. What do you think about this new series? Do you think that it's worth sticking with? Or do you think that, might be a little bit of a dud? We've heard this story before. So drop down in the comments and let me know what you think. And always, always like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so that you know when Talia's going to be dropping that tea. I hope that you all have a wonderful evening. Thank you so much for listening, and have a blessed rest of the week. Thank you.